Hey, Julia Tarvet here, certified holistic nutritionist at rossumhealthy.com, helping you restore your hormones, restore your weight issues completely naturally. And today I am joined by Dr. Areli. So Dr. Areli is a medical doctor, and we are going to be talking about some very interesting things about the best diet for your health. So Dr. Areli, welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Julia. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
It's awesome to have you. And I'm really glad to be joined by a medical doctor because I know, and you probably know yourself in the medical world also, there's a lot of confusion going on around what diet is best. There are a lot of debates. There are a lot of conflicts. And usually what we see amongst our clients is that, and the path that I followed myself is that first you get diagnosed with something, you go to your doctors. Maybe some people feel better, but the majority of people don't. They take medication, they still have symptoms, or things even get worse. They get diagnosed with more diseases, and then they just realize that something clicks and they understand that I need to be seeking solution outside of this medical system. So then they start going to naturopaths and functional medicine doctors. And then they get put on a keto diet or paleo diet because carbs are bad for you and sugar is bad for you. You need more fat, especially for your hormones. And if you've got gut issues, autoimmune diseases, and they do that, they might feel better, but then they feel worse. And usually what happens is eventually they get filtered to a plant foods lifestyle after years of struggle and search. So I'm just wondering, is this how you came across this lifestyle as well, yourself?
Well, I've been raw vegan for 1 year and almost 9 months. I started January 1st, 2018, but before I was high raw, and before I was vegan, and before I was vegetarian. So I came to know vegetarianism back in 2009 for vanity reasons and health reasons. I was a little bit overweight. So I just wanted to try something that was more sustainable because I came across the Atkins diet, and which is a version of paleo, but from the 2000s, right? So I did the Atkins diet for weight loss purposes in 2008 to 2009. So I did it for a year, and I didn't feel at my best. Obviously, I lost weight. We can explain more why that may happen, but I was still bloated. I was with severe acne that my skin never cleared up because all the animal protein and fats. And I was looking for solutions as a doctor. I was like, okay, is this normal, right? Like,
interesting, Areli, because you are a medical doctor, and in the medical community, it's not something that is widely accepted at all. I mean, plant-based more so because there is more and more research, and vegan, there are more vegan doctors, right? So like Dr. Greger, for example, there are more and more vegan doctors, but becoming a raw foods doctor, that is quite unique.
Yes, well, in my social media, my handle is raw vegan doctor because yes, I'm trained as a medical doctor. Sorry, this phone is falling up, like it's sliding from where I have it. So sorry for interruptions. My handle is raw vegan doctor because I'm medically trained, but this knowledge didn't came to me from medical school. Unfortunately, I'm afraid to say that none of the medical students from my generation up until now receive proper nutrition or proper education in nutrition. So the reason why I came to know this is because I was researching by my own means and in my own time, because I was actually implicated, right? If I could have been healthy all these years. This happened to me at the last year of medical school when I was overweight and feeling terrible, because in the last year of medical school in my country, I'm trained in Mexico, by the way, we have a year called internship when you literally don't sleep and you are doing night shifts every other day. So it's like a very stressful time, and I gained a lot of weight. Of course, I mean, we're talking about hormones, cortisols, peak when you don't sleep. So doing my own research, I just came to this knowledge. And yes, you're right, there is no research from the medical point of view, right? Something that backs up this lifestyle. There is no like thousands of people observe over a period of time and having controls. That's basically what biomedical research is about: cases and controls over a period of time, controlling multiple variables to, make a conclusion at the end. And plant-based diet, which is cooked vegan food, basically, they have been able to do this type of studies because many societies all over the world have eaten this way. Like, for example, the China study is like the longest and biggest study that proved the efficacy of plant-based diet.
And it's already a huge step, isn't it? It's already a huge step from eating lots of animal products. And you said a very interesting thing, Dr. Areli. You said that you have not been trained on nutrition as a doctor. So when people go to their doctors for advice on nutrition, how can they advise them on what to eat if it's not something that, I mean, you probably received some kind of very minimal training, right, on it. And another thing as well, it's a lot of doctors are seriously overweight and are seriously sick. Have you experienced that in the medical community where doctors are sick themselves?
For sure. And the reason why, we don't see that much is because the doctor is a figure like the priest and like the teacher and like a parent. So in the past, our old ways of thinking is always like hierarchical systems is the norm. So doctors have this privileged position where you don't question what they say, because, if I sit here with a white coat and I put glasses on me and I look very intellectual and I speak to you like in a very authoritative and knowledgeable way, you're going to say, oh my God, she must be right. So that's what happens. But that doesn't mean anything. The reason why science keeps going is because we haven't discovered all the enigmas that, still unknown in the medical system, all these diseases. So science keeps going, research keeps happening. And that's why we don't have like 100% the answers 100% of the time, especially nutrition, considering that we did not receive proper training on that, subject.
It's funny that we worked with hundreds of clients over the years, and what happens is that they get amazing. So they go to their doctor, for example, like their blood sugar was 180. Now their blood sugar is under 100. They go to the doctor and the doctor said, well, what have you been doing? And they said, well, I've been eating lots of fruit and I switched to plant foods lifestyle and I changed my lifestyle. And they don't understand it, but they say, well, keep on doing this. And we've even had doctors who said, well, tell me more. What is it all about? I want to know, because it's not the typical result that they see. They see what they see, that once you're on metformin medication, your blood sugar is always kind of out of balance and you just control it. And then you also have high blood pressure, of course, and high cholesterol as well, and all these things, and then more medication. And then with hormonal imbalances, it's kind of the same. So thyroid imbalances just put you on medication, but you have all the symptoms. Well, there's nothing we can do. So it's just so interesting to have your perspective on things, and also with you openly sharing that, no, you haven't had training on nutrition as a doctor, even though you know how to diagnose and prescribe and all these things. Yes, but in terms of preventing and addressing the root cause, it's not something that you get trained.
It's so
then, Dr. Areli, in terms of the best diet for health, I know that in the paleo world, fruit-based is like a no-no because it's too much sugar. Fruit is hybridized. There's all these issues with fruit, with carbs the same. There's just too much sugar, and you need healthy fats in large amounts. So what are your thoughts on this?
So you said the keto, right? The keto diet?
Yeah, paleo keto. So it's more like of a low carb and higher fat.
So the difference among those two, the paleo is basically eating animal protein and maybe, limiting carbs, and the keto is basically eating a lot of fat. So that's the main difference, but it's actually coming from animals. So at the end of the day, if you want to look at it at the molecular biochemical perspective, it's basically the same, because those two diets are depriving, or the patients or people that follow them are depriving themselves of carbs, and they're entering in this process called gluconeogenesis and ketosis in order to get their fuel energy. So at the end of the day, what they're doing is bypassing different, not bypassing, but actually going through a longer steps in order to get the glucose and sugar that we need. At the end of the day, that's what our cells run with: glucose, sugar, fructose, different simple carbohydrates that we need. But they just challenge their bodies and put them under these stressful situations. Even though it's not noticeable, they feel amazing and all this energy, because there are different biochemical reactions that it takes a while to understand. But just put it simple: you are obtaining glucose through a lot of steps that takes energy, and that's why you lose weight. If you eat simple sugars, like in our fruitarian, fruit-based, raw vegan diet, you get exactly what your body needs at the times it needs it, and you don't have to jeopardize your body in that, in that regard. So it's good for weight loss, short term, that's for sure. Some patients that are diabetic get good results because short term is good, but it's not long term. And if you think about all the populations worldwide, like the Eskimos, for example, they have the highest prevalence of cardiovascular disease, and they die very young. If we are talking about increasing your life expectancy, I wouldn't like to live 50 years or 60 years just for the sake of keeping my body lean, right? With this keto paleo diet. And it's actually pretty difficult. Many people say, oh, fruit-based raw vegan is so hard, so challenging. Actually not. I think paleo and keto, to keep it at the strictness they want, is super difficult. I don't know. You have to be at home all the time to prepare your meals. That's what I think.
What would you sort of comparing the diets and all that confusion about, oh, what shall I eat? And my doctor says this, and then this paleo promoter said that, and then I read the keto guy says that, and then there's this sugar-free diet cleanse that is coming my way. So, there's a lot of confusion. So what's your take on this?
Well, I think people, we need to distance ourselves from science a little bit. Science is great. Don't take me wrong. Without science, we wouldn't have been able to prove all the things that we know. But just remember, as I mentioned, science proves things. Science is descriptive. Science just observes, verifies, experiment, reproduce, and confirms what already is there to begin with. So science is not inventing or discovering anything. It's just analyzing the data and the natural occurrences of life, basically. So having that in mind, if we kind of divorce ourselves from this religion, which is science, many people are very science oriented and nothing outside of that is valid. No, just look around. And I always say this, and maybe you've heard it, maybe not, but I always repeat this. If you are religious and if you believe your God is Christian or whatever, all the Abrahamic religions believe in the Bible. So God put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And what was the first indication? Eat the fruits that come from the tree. That's for you to eat, and the herbs that grow from the ground, etc. So that's your answer if you want a religious answer. The other thing, if you are more skeptic and you're looking for anthropological evidence, well, you just have to trace back our history as humans and see where the man originated in, and obviously occur in an environment that had the right conditions for life to occur. And in order for life to occur, it needs some elements, right? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, which is the structural or the backbone of carbohydrates and all these macromolecules. It needed some light, or a lot of light, warmth, water. So all that mixture created life. So in order for that to happen, it didn't happen in the Arctic. It happened in the tropics, right? So if you trace back humanity, the Homo sapiens originated in tropical equatorial areas. And from there, they migrated to the north or to the south. And then they developed all these tools for agriculture. And for survival, they have to hunt because they moved away from the paradise, the tropics, right? Where everything was available. So agriculture came afterwards. We were collectors, we were gatherers, we were nomads, eating fruit basically, and some leafy greens, just like our ancestors, the apes or the chimpanzees, the bonobos. So, that's your answer. Just use a little bit of logical sense. And all these claims in the scientific studies that say keto, paleo, great results, weight loss, all the things. This is new, They have not observed the effects that this type of diets are going to have long term in these people. As I said, short term, they improve. But these keto, paleo proponents, they never say that this type of patients actually, yes, they lose cholesterol, they lose weight. Better say they lose weight, their sugar is low, but if they analyze their lipid profiles, their cholesterol are high. So they never mention that, which is, unfortunate because people are confused, and the cholesterol actually increases because it's highly saturated animal fat that they are consuming.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on this. It's so beautiful to hear a doctor, medically trained doctor, talk about this lifestyle and back it up. And also you recognizing that, okay, we don't have science about this, but what about all the amazing transformations that people have experienced, that there's all the profound healing that people have gone through on this lifestyle, when the medical system says, sorry, can't help, that's just going to be you for the rest of your life, or I'm sorry to say that your life's going to be ending soon. And then people just started making different food choices and different lifestyle choices.
I am in my 30s, probably you're as well, or reaching your 40s. I don't know, you look amazing. So I don't want you to ask that question, but you came to this lifestyle 10 years ago. I came to this lifestyle in theory many years ago, but I implemented it 2 years ago. Long-term raw vegans that are doing this for 20 years are there, and the evidence is there. It's anecdotal, but it's valid. So the problem why we don't have research in this lifestyle is, first of all, it's not funded. Number two, nobody's interested. Number three, there are so many variables that can alter the end result. So it's not like there are 20-year-old Caucasian women and we're going to follow them over a period of time versus another 20 Caucasian women that eat the cooked vegan diet or whatever other diet you want to do in order to compare to the raw food diet. So there's no scientific study to come to that conclusion, and therefore medical doctors kind of back up a little bit or step back to make conclusions about our lifestyle. But as you mentioned, it's just common sense, a little bit of intelligence. We are intelligent to figure out things, so.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because you can really find science on anything you want to find science on. There'll be a study on whatever it is that you want to find. And I can imagine if you are solely scientifically driven, just how confused you can become in life and how disconnected you can become from yourself, because that knowledge doesn't come from within, from that also intuitive connection to yourself. It's just like that hardcore in front of you, I'll believe it when I'll see it kind of reality. And it's so wonderful that you mentioned the spiritual benefits of it, and whatever faith, religion, that just it will enhance it, and it will enhance that connection with yourself. Something that I can personally not trade for anything else in life. It's the most precious thing, because it's your power, your connection from within. That's your space, your intuition. That's where you make decisions that are relevant, that are necessary for you. But just being aligned to that space and living in that space means that you'll make choices out of love towards yourself, towards other human beings, towards love for the planet and the animals. And wow, what an amazing lifestyle.
It's amazing. I totally agree with you. I feel that way as well. Yeah.
Super. Thank you so much, Dr. Aurelia, for coming on, for sharing your wisdom here, and for also putting yourself out there. You've got your full-time job as a medical doctor, and you're also so passionate about this lifestyle that you want to spread the message. So it's magical, and I really, really appreciate having you here. And we would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What's the best diet for you as a human being? Post your comments in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you in our next video. Ciao.
Bye.